Hey guys, and welcome to Faith Works Design. I'm Faith. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you our Disney book panel. You've got, what have we got? Raya, Moana, Frozen, The Princess and the Frog, and Tangled, all on our books. But to make it even cooler, it was so much work, and Alex did such a great job, but there are your little book panels. So you've got the front of your book on here, and then all the way around you have your book. So we're going to talk about that because there is some aligning things that you're going to have to do. Just make sure that you pay attention to that when we go to put the gusset on, because I have a feeling a couple of you were like, I'm just going to put a gusset on and it's not going to be no problem. You are going to have to align this up, so make sure that you pay attention when I'm telling you how to put the gusset on. Let's talk about hardware and all that stuff. K&A's has the cutest. I saw this rainbow, and if it doesn't show up, I'll post a picture here. Instead of using a regular D-ring, they came out with these little strap connectors to go along with the bags, and they look really cute all together. Also, we did the D-ring connector a little bit different in the video today. You do not have to do it that way. You can do it any way that you want. If you want to do it the traditional way of just looping it over, go for it. I did it this way because I know there's a lot of domestic users on the page, and they want to make all of these bags, and putting the D-ring in between these two layers, it can get kind of thick and hard to sew over. So I thought we would do a rivet to connect our D-ring to, and I thought that might make it a little bit easier for domestic sewers. This one is definitely a beginner-friendly bag, super easy. We do have a magnetic snap that snaps right in place. I don't know if you can tell. If you can tell, when it snaps, it kind of goes right where the next book is. Love it. Alex did such a good job with the artwork. Okay, so you see the front of all of the books on this main page. So when you have it open, you can see them all. Let's talk about the inside. Now, for the inside of the bags, we weren't able to get any of like zipper panels or anything like that on the panel because of how much material all of this took. So in the video, I'm going to show you how to install a zipper and a slip pocket on the inside, but the panel does not come with a slip pocket, with zipper pockets, or anything. So you're going to have to use either a coordinating fabric or something like that. But I put a zipper on one side and then a slip pocket on the other side. And I'm going to show you how to do that. However, the panel does not come with it. So sorry about that. We just ran out of space, and I'll tell you later in the video why. But they've got cute little zippers that go along with them. I don't know if you can see it or not. If not, I'll post a picture. We got this really cute webbing, and it looks like the side of your bag. So the book side, it looks like the side of your bag. And I thought it was really cute to put together. Now, I want to show you something really exciting, because not only do we have these really kind of like girly books, we also got some of the really cool, like, I don't want to say boy books, but kind of, you know, Peter Pan, The Lion King, stuff like that. And there's a glare. Let's see. So we got Peter Pan, The Lion King, Jungle Book, Hercules, and Pinocchio on this one. So we have options. In today's video, I will not be showing you how to do this bag. I will be showing you the other bag, but basically it's the same thing. Let's get started. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about hardware, because I've already got it all laid out for the TikTok video. So I figure we'll just go ahead and start there. First thing that you're going to need to do is grab yourself some of this really cool looking webbing. It really goes well with the gusset on the bag. K&A sells theirs in 3-yard increments. You're going to need about a 60-ish inch strap, just depending upon who you're making it for. If you're making it for a little one, you probably want to do like 45-ish inches. It's up to you. Then you need your, let's talk about the strap stuff first. You're going to need your strap adjusters. Look Look at that rainbow, man. I am very impressed with that. I really like those. You've also got 2 of your swivel clasps. All of this hardware that I'm showing you and the webbing is all 1 inch. Whatever webbing you decide to choose, you need to make sure that your hardware is the same size as your webbing. Then you have, instead of using D-rings, K&A came up with these really cool strap connectors. So this would be the bottom part. I'll show you how to put it on. That would be like the bottom part of your D-ring, and then you would connect your swivel clasp to the top of this. Look how pretty those are. Like, they're super pretty. Alright. Then you're going to need a zipper. You're going to need a little bit of zipper tape, and you're going to need a magnet. And I will give you all those measurements further along in the video. Your panel, when it arrives to you, is going to look like this. Inside of your roll is going to be your outer panel. So you've got your outer panel, and then you've got your lining. I cannot stress this enough, you guys. Stuff happens. What you need to do is you need to cut out your outside panel first and use that as a template for your lining. Sometimes our lining is off by like 1/8 of an inch, give or take here and there, so just use your outside as your template so that everything is the same size like it's supposed to be. The way that you cut this out is you're just going to cut right along where the white and then the actual design meet up, and you're just going to cut them all the way around. Let me do a quick time lapse for you guys, and then we'll get started. So I've got everything cut out, all of my outer panels and all of my linings. The first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and install our magnetic snaps. What I'm going to do is make sure that you're grabbing this purple panel that matches with your, this is going to be your flap. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our lining fabric, I'm going to fold it in half. We're going to make a little notch in the bottom, and then what we're going to do is we're going to measure up 1.5 inches. So we're going to measure up 1.5 inches, make a mark, and then I'm going to take a washer. I'm going to put it right over top of the dot that I just put right there. And then I'm going to grab a piece of, you can do Peltex or the one-sided interfacing. I'm going to take my washer and make the same exact marks on the sides of my circle. Then I'm going to grab my seam ripper and I'm just going to open those up just where I marked. You don't want to make big holes so your magnet will come straight through. Just where those holes are. We're going to do that in both pieces. Then I'm going to grab, it'll let go, I'm going to grab my female end. I'm going to put it from the right side. You should see the female end there. The feet should be sticking up. Put your Peltex on, put your washer on, and then I just watched a lavender and twine video. I was making the Welkin bag, and I saw that Erica used pliers for this, and I'm like, why didn't anybody think of this sooner? Do you know how many times my hands have hurt from trying to push these things down? I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. So take your pliers, push those little legs down, especially when you're doing like a bunch of things and you're having to mess with all of these magnets. Ugh! Finger lightsaber. Okay, this is going to be done. What we're going to do is we're going to grab our front panel and our lining panel and put them right sides together. And then I'm just going to kind of lightly clip around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew all the way around at 1/4 inch, except for the top, because we're going to have to turn this inside out. So we're just going to sew from here. Make sure that you backstitch, come all the way down, around, back up, making sure you backstitch and leave this open. Let's grab our other front panel. This is going to go underneath of our flap. We're going to find the center of the bottom. I'm going to make a little clip there and find the center of the top. So I made a clip at the top and the bottom. We're going to need both of those. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to measure 4 1/4. So I'm going to measure 4 1/4 down. Then I'm going to make my dot right here. That is going to be in the center. That is going to be right where my other male end of my magnet is going to go. So we're going to grab again our washer. Then I'm going to place that washer circle on top of the dot that I just made. Draw the legs. And then I'm going to do that on the same thing on my Peltex or whatever you're using to put behind your magnet. You guys really should be putting things behind your magnet just to give it a little bit more stability. You don't want to finish a purse and then have the magnet pull through for one reason or another. Okay, so we're going to take our male end and put it through the front. Then we're going to put our one-sided interfacing, our washer, and then push that down. Okay, so that's done. We're going to just kind of set this aside for just a second. Let's go to the sewing machine and sew our flap together. Alright, y'all gonna have to put up with the AC noise because it is hot. Alright, next thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna grab our 2 D-ring connectors. We're gonna do something a little different. I am sick to death of making regular D-ring connectors. We're doing it different. Alright, don't be afraid, it's gonna be fine. Alright, so you're gonna need some 1/4 inch double-sided tape, a marking tool, ruler, and your 2 D-ring connectors. First thing that we're gonna do is we're going to mark right down the center on both of them. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark a 1/2 inch from this edge. I'm just going to go ahead and mark all the way across, turn it around, and mark all the way across. Alright, now I've drawn in the middle and I've drawn each end. Now I need a 1/2 inch on each corner. So on this corner, I want to have a 1/2 inch square. On each of the corners, you're going to need a 1/2 inch square. Alright, we're going to do that to both of them, but let's do one at a time. First thing we're going to do is you're going to cut up to as close as you can that line that you made, and cut those 1/2 inch corners out. Alright, so this is what we're working with. The next thing that we're going to have to do on our corners, so you can take your ruler or whatever you want to, where this little bit sticks out, we need to make it so that this all lays flat. And what I'm going to do is on each corner, I'm just going to make a little mark like that. I'm trying to get the bulk out of this so that when this folds down and this folds over, you don't have this flapping up. We're going to cut that away so that when it lays down, it'll lay like that, and then you won't have all of that bulk when you go to sew it. So that's what we're going to do. On each corner, we're just going to, from this corner right here, make a mark, and then from this corner, make a mark, and then just cut those out. I'm going to do it again just to show you guys on the other one. I figured one at a time would probably be best. So that's what it should look like. A little piece of candy roll or something. Next thing that you're going to do, we're going to grab our double-sided tape. And you can use a 1/2 inch down the center. It's up to you. I'm just going to use a 1/4 inch because it's a little bit easier to do one side at a time. Alright, next thing that we're going to do, we're going to take this paper off. We're going to take this, and where you've got this line right here, you could go ahead and measure down another 1/2 inch so that you know exactly where it needs to go. It's up to you. I'm just going to fold at this line, and it should kind of naturally fold there anyway. So it's going to look like that. And we're going to take this paper off, and we're going to make the edge meet with that center, and I am going to just clip right here on the corner so that it'll stay nice where I want it, because it's going to have a tendency to want to bow out. We don't want to do that because there's nothing there for it to hold on to. So I'm just going to clip that until I go to sew it. And go on this side and do the same thing. We're going to meet in the center and then kind of push that in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew 1/8 of an inch around the edge so that all of this stays together. And then what we're going to do is, when we're finished with our purse, we've turned our lining inside out, all of that jazz, we're going to put our D-ring on here, fold this over, and then rivet this in place. That way, I know a lot of you guys have domestic machines and it's really hard to sew some of these bags. Hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier. I know even for me, sometimes I struggle with the D-ring connectors, all of these layers just being in the way, plus your bag and all that. So I figured we'd try something different. I'm going to do it one more time, and I'm going to do it a little bit quicker. Make a mark down the center, make a 1/2 inch mark on each side. If you wanted to do a regular D-ring, go for it. I'm tired of making them. I want to do something different. I want the bag to look a little bit different. And I think that rivet is just a little detail that you want. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. So I have got my 1/2 inch boxes on each end. I'm going to cut those out. And since I've already done it, I'm just going to go from the corner. It doesn't have to be a specific diagonal cut or anything. We're just getting that bulk out of the way, so when we go to flip it, that bulk isn't there. Alright. Let's take this to the sewing machine. We'll sew 1/8 of an inch all the way around the edge, and then I'll show you what they look like when they're done. Alright, so I'm going to start in the middle. Normally with a D-ring, you start on the edge, go around 2 sides, and then come back down. I'm going to start right here in the middle, and I'm going to sew all the way around so that it looks nice on the outside all the way around, because you're going to see some of it you're going to see on the inside of the bag and some of it you're going to see on the outside of the bag, and we just want all of it to look nice. Okay, and stop. Pull your thread out. Okay. Pull your thread through on the wrong side, so the side where you can see all of our cuts and folds and all that mess. Pull your thread through. Go ahead and burn the ends. I did the top stitching with a 4-stitch length, by the way. So that's what it looks like on the outside. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm going to do that to both of them. And then we're going to set those aside. We have got our D-rings all connected, all sewn up, ready to roll. We're going to set these aside. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab our bottom panel and our back panel, and that's going to be the books, or the edges of the books. Then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to take these sides and find the center and make a clip. You're going to do that on both sides of your bottom of your gusset. Next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your back panel. Same thing. Find the center, clip it. That way we know where to add our bottom gusset. Now, super important, hopefully nobody skips this part. I need to put like a flashing warning sign. Okay, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to match these lines up so that when you turn your bag inside out, let me show you. Your back panel and your side panel and your front panel all are going to match up. Do you see how my lines are just going straight across? I'm going to show you how to do that. We're just going to need a little patience. Alright, so I'm going to start with my bottom and just put a couple of clips. You probably, if ever there was a time to clip like a maniac, this is probably it. Alright, what I'm going to do, normally you would take your tops and you put them together. Don't do that. What we're going to do is we're going to find the first purple, there's like a purple thin line and then a red thin line. You've got the same thing on the top of your bottom gusset. We're going to match those up together, and then I'm going to clip right there. Then I'm going to come down a little bit and I'm going to match up the red and the blue. You guys have no idea how much Alex stressed about this. But it ended up being perfect. I don't know how she did it, but the artwork matched. Alright, the blue and the green, we're going to match those up. On the top of your bottom gusset, there's going to be about a 1/4 inch overhang. Leave that alone. We're going to touch that at the end. I wanted to have a little extra in case you needed to shift this around a little bit. I wanted you to be able to do it. Now on this round corner, what we're going to do, I want your bag to lay nice and flat. We're just going to cut a little bit of snips into our seam allowance. Our seam allowance is a 1/4 inch. So we're just going to about an 1/8 inch-ish in, make a few snips so that it'll lay nice and flat. We got one more to make sure is right, and it's the green and the purple. Now we're going to clip right there. Then I'll take care of the roundy bits at the bottom. You're going to have to do the same exact thing on the other side. Again, don't sweat over it. I mean, you can look and see how you did before you sew. Oh my goodness, I got the tester and I didn't even think about this, and it just, because it was all wonky. So, it's okay. I just repicked it and did it again. We don't want to do it again, but you know, it's going to look great if we take our time and match up right where the books are together. And you may have to shift it around a little bit. and then I'm going to cut my notches. I feel like when we make these little notches, our gussets lay down so much flatter, and you don't have that little rippling effect that we've had in previous bags. I know there's still a little ripple in a couple of them. Eventually I'll have time to fix those, hopefully. Just go ahead and clip all the way around. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to the sewing machine, and you can open it up and look and just make sure that things are kind of matching up and they look good. So I'm going to take it to the sewing machine just like this, and then I'm going to sew around just like that. I have got my bottom gusset attached to the back. I'm still going to leave that 1/4 inch at the top until I get completely finished. Next thing I'm going to do is grab my flap, and I am going to, you can make a center notch and then make a center notch on the back panel. It's up to you. I am just going to center it and then clip it together. And then you're going to want to take this to the sewing machine at about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. You're going to want to base stitch that flap in place. Ta-da! It will look like this. Alright, next thing you're going to do is you're going to grab your front panel that you put your male end of your magnet on. If you don't have a notch in the bottom center, go ahead and do that now. Then we're going to match up bottom notch to bottom notch. And just like we did the other side, we're going to just make a few clips on the bottom, and then we're going to match up the sides. It's not so much showing, hold on, it's not going to be the end of the world if this and this is not matching up, but I tried really hard to make it match up. But it's up to you. I'm going to try really hard to match them up. I'm going to match them up just like I did with the back. So we're going to find our front books. So your front books are Raya and Moana. And where they join up right here, we're going to match them up as best we can. It's going to be hard, but if you match them up, and we're going to double check this before I sew it. I'm going to look on the inside and just see how I did with matching them up before I sew anything. You're also going to need to make clips again on this side. Some big clips there. Okay. Got one more that I need to match up, and then I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other side. We're going to take this to the sewing machine, and at 1/4 inch seam allowance, we're going to sew around, sewing our front and our back panels together. Let me do that on the other side, and then we'll go to the sewing machine. Alright guys, we have got our flap attached. We've got our front panel to our middle gusset. All of our outside of our bag is done. Let's talk lining. So we're going to put our lining together just like we did our outer panel. All we're going to be doing is adding our gusset to the front. Remember that you do still have 1/4 inch up here at the top. What I did was I went ahead and just cut straight across. If you want to, you can mark 1/4 inch on this side and then just cut across. You're going to have to do the same thing with the lining. So let's talk about a little secret that I can share with you guys. The panel size reflects how much the price is going to be for each of these bags. And we realize that a lot of you guys are sew to sell. We're trying to keep the price down by not adding a ton of stuff. Ideally, I would have loved to have had a zipper pocket to be able to turn all of this inside out with. But again, that would have raised the price. So, whatever you want to do with the inside, go for it. If you want to do some slip pockets, if you want to do a zipper pocket and then turn this inside out through the zipper pocket, go for it. Today I'm just going to keep it real simple. When I go to put my gusset onto my lining, I'm going to leave a space at the bottom, and I'm going to make sure that I backstitch here and backstitch here, and then I'm going to turn my whole bag through this hole and then close it up in the end. It's just, it is what it is. I wish we could add all of the things, but then nobody could afford to buy the panels. So we're just trying to keep the price down for you guys. What I'm going to do, because it's so hot, is I'm going to go ahead and make this and then just kind of fast forward me going through it. All you're doing is putting the gusset onto your front and back panels, just like we've already done with this, and leaving your hole open at the bottom so you can turn it inside out. Alright, now I want to go over real quick what I did, because I know it was kind of like fast. I took a piece that was 11 wide by 12 high, folded it in half, put it on here, base stitched all the way around, and then I cut the excess off the corners, made a stitch down the center. That was part of my lining. Next thing I did was go ahead and put my bottom lining, my front lining panel, my back lining panel, and my gusset all together just like we did on the outside, and then I put right sides to right sides. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to turn this inside out through this hole. Now if you wanted to, if you put a zipper pocket here, you could turn it through your zipper pocket, but I did not do that. I'm going to turn everything through the hole in the bottom. Alright, now you can see if your stuff lined up like it was supposed to. It's a little late, but you can tell and double check that everything lined up or not. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to stick this back inside. I'm not going to close that up just yet. I want to do my top stitching first. So I am just going to kind of with my fingers roll that lining back down into the inside of the bag. When we go to sew the back part of the bag, we've got the flap kind of in the way. You're going to have to kind of shift that out of the way. So what I'm saying is you got to pull that lining in and pull the outer away from the flap, and as you're sewing just pull both layers away, and then we're going to sew 1/8 of an inch all the way around. I will take you over there with me so you guys can see what I'm doing once I get this all closed up. Well, goodbye. Also, you might have a little bit of thickness right here where the seams, where the back gusset and the front gusset come together on both sides. You can, if you have a key fob, you can take it and you can squish this corner, and it'll kind of help flatten it out so when you sew over it, it's not so bulky. It just kind of pushes that material out of the way so that it's not so thick. Let's go sew this at 1/8 of an inch all the way around the top edge. Alright, I am going to start, I think, on the back. I've also changed out my needle for a heavier needle. I normally sew K&As with like a 12 just because of my sewing machine. So I put a heavier needle in to do all of my top stitching. I also extended my stitches to a 4, and then I'm just going to 1/8 of an inch go all the way around. and I'm pulling the outer panel away from the back, from the bottom, and I'm pulling my lining away from it also, so that they lay nice and flat. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and close this up. I folded in one side a little over 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to fold the other side and make those two meet, and then I am just going to sew straight across there, closing up my bag, and then once we shove it back in, you'll be all done. Put my stitch length back to like a 2.5. I'm out of bobbin. Dang it. Alright, we need to put our D-ring connectors on. We're all done. We've closed up our bag, all that jazz. Now we're going to put them on. So we're going to grab 2 of our D-ring connectors. We're going to grab 2 of our strap connectors. We're going to grab some rivets. I'm going to grab a marking tool. And then I'm going to grab my rivet press so that I can make the holes that I need to make. If you want to do the D-rings like normal on the sides, go for it. If you don't want to mess with this and it's too much of a pain, go for it. You are not going to hurt my feelings. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and fold it in half, right down the center. I'm going to take my marking tool and I'm going to find, I don't want it to be up here, I want it to be down here, about 1/4 of an inch up from my stitching line. I want to put my little dot where I am going to punch a hole in that. So I'm going to take it to my press, make sure I'm straight all the way around, make sure I'm centered. I know you guys cannot see a thing I'm doing, but with the second one I might bring it down here and let you see it. Okay. Then I need to poke this through. I don't know if I use my press too much and it's getting worn out, but it's not cutting the holes as well as it used to. I don't know. Or I'm not pushing down hard enough. Alright, so I've got my 2 holes. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my bag. And I'm going to put my D-ring just like so. And then I'm going to take my marking tool, making sure that my D-ring is in the center of my middle gusset. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. You should be able to see a hole through here. I'm just going to make sure that it's centered, and I want to make sure that it's through that purple. And I'm just going to make a mark with my tool, with my marker, so you should see it right there. I wanted this to kind of sit up here like that, but then you'd be cutting into your stitching and it would be in that seam and it would just be kind of heavy. Alright, my camera died, sorry. Okay, we have our mark right here. I also have this little tool that I want to use. It's just a hole punch, that way I don't have to keep switching things back and forth. I'm going to lay this down so that I'm making sure that I'm not poking through anything else other than this outside panel and my lining panel. And I'm just going to make a hole for my rivet. Now I'm going to grab my strap connector, my D-ring connector. I'm going to slide it on like that. Fold it in half. I was like, which side am I working on? Let's start from the back side, so the inside of the purse. I am going to put this through one side of my D-ring connector. Then I'm going to put it through the inside of my purse where my lining is. Just like that. Fold this over and put it right back on top of it. Then I'm going to grab the cap of my rivet and rivet it right there. And then I have my little D-ring. You're going to have to smash it good so that this thing isn't doing that number. So make sure that you've got it nice and flat and where you want it. Grab your press. Make sure you're flat. Okay. One side down. Let's go to the other side. So I'm going to get my next D-ring connector. I'm going to grab my little marking tool, and about 1/4 of an inch from my stitch line, I'm going to make a dot. Then I'm going to take my little tool and I'm going to cut. I like to keep them together so that I make sure that I'm getting them in the same spot on both sides. Then I'm going to take my D-ring connector when it wants to behave itself. I'm going to put it just like I did. It's a little bit past where the book pages start, so somewhere right in the middle. Again, if you don't want to do it this way, you don't have to. This is just an option. I've got my dot. I'm going to grab my tool again. And you guys probably can't see a thing I'm doing, but I am just going through my outer panel, my lining panel. Hopefully, I'm going to go all the way through this time. Alright, then I'm going to grab one of my rivets, my D-ring connector. I'm going to put it through like that. I'm going to put it through my lining side and then out through my outer panel. Oh, wait a minute, something important. Okay, put that on. Go on. Put it through there. Put my cap on. And then squish my rivet down. And then you'll have both of your strap connectors attached. And your purse, the part of your purse will be done. Now we're going to grab all of our hardware that we need for our strap, and we'll do that next. Alright, we're working on our strap. So I have got 60 inches of webbing, I have got 1 strap adjuster, and I have got 2 swivel clasps. And if you go to K&A's website, they have all of this stuff for you. They'll have all of the hardware, they'll have all of the cool webbing, and if you haven't seen them together yet, they're really cool together. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is grab my strap adjuster. I'm going to put it through one side of the center, move that bar over and put it back down. I'm going to give myself a tail about like 1.5-inch-ish, and then I'm going to put a clip, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and just sew a little square. Also wanted to show you guys, make sure that when you're using your webbing that you burn the ends of it. I want to show you guys because I have some webbing that I've used, and when I burn the ends of it, it like gets black around the edges. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? So I really like the webbing that K&A has got because it doesn't have that. It still looks really nice when you burn the ends, and it's white. It's kind of like a white on the inside instead of like that black from the lighter. So anyway, I wanted to show you guys that. I really like that. Alright, so we've looped it through our center little piece of metal there. Terms, Faith, terms. Okay, we're putting our swivel clasp on upside down. So we're going to see that piece of metal is on that side. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this in without turning it or doing anything. We're going to take it back up through our strap adjuster and then back down. So it's going to look like that. Hopefully you can see it. And then we're going to pull it down. I'm going to grab my other strap adjuster, and making sure we're on the same side as our strap adjuster, we're going to put it on top this time so that you can see our strap adjuster and our swivel clasp on the same side. And we're going to do the same thing, about 1-1.5 inches. Fold it over, clip it. I'm going to take this to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew this first and just make a little square, and then come over here and sew this and make a little square, and then your strap is all done. Alright, so we're going to do the zipper situation. So I've got my front back panel, whichever one I decide to end up making it, and I've got two pieces that are 8.5 wide by 6.5 tall. I'm going to take one of them and we're going to do our little zipper box like we always do. 1 inch up. I forgot that was a half, so this is going to make it a little more difficult. Alright, so 1 inch away from the edges, and then we're going to connect. So 1 inch in, 1 inch in, connect our lines, move up 1/2 inch. Alright, now we're going to get our panel, and you just want to make sure that it's straight, is basically what I'm trying to do. Like 1.5, let's see, 1 1/4. I'm going to do 1 1/4 and just make sure that this is center. Next thing that you're going to do is you're going to sew around this rectangle. And I've got my rectangle sewn. I'm going to fold this in half, cut down the center. I'm going to stop about 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch away from the edge. I'm going to get my sharp scissors, and then I'm going to make a little triangle, and I'll show you in a second. Just like that. So I cut up to my thread. Just make sure you don't cut your thread, but you're cutting at an angle so that you have a triangle at the end. We'll do it again on this side. Alright, then I'm going to turn this over, and I am going to grab some double-sided tape to make my life a little bit easier. And put some at the top and some at the bottom. The top double-sided tape I'm going to put really close to my stitch line. The bottom one I'm going to put it down just a little bit. There's a reason for that. So let's turn this inside out. Alright, so we're going to take the tape off. I normally like to take that seam and push that down first, and then take my zipper pocket and push it up to that tape so that they join together. Alright, let's take this paper off, push that seam down, alright, now I gotta go grab some zipper tape because I forgot to grab some. Alright, I went and checked my stash, and this might be a little too bold for that, but we're gonna go ahead and use it. This is 7.5 inches long. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab some double-sided tape, some 1/4 inch double-sided tape, and I'm just gonna put it along the edge. I'm leaving my zipper off until I get done putting my zipper tape on, because sometimes when you have your zipper on, it kind of makes your zipper tape bubble out a little bit, and I don't want it to do that just yet. I wanted to be able to put my double tape on. I wanted to put my double-sided tape on without having to deal with bubbling around that. Okay. I guess I should show you how to put a zipper on, huh? Alright. So I got my zipper. Very cute. This end right here is going to go on the end of my zipper. So we're going to do left side first, then right side. And we're going to make sure that our teeth right there are together. If one side is higher than the other one, then you've probably done it wrong. So just make sure that they're nice and even Steven. I like my zipper to open to the right, close to the left. So I'm laying it down right like that. And then I'm going to put my zipper up there. And then press it down. And then I'm just going to go ahead and sew all the way around the edges. And I'm going to turn my lights off for a little bit because it's getting hot up here. And then we will finish our gusset. I've already got my bottom gusset attached to my back panel. I think I'm going to make this the front of my lining. We'll see. But I've already got that attached. All I've got to do is add this to this, and then we can start putting everything else together. Alright, lights are off. It's going to be a little dark. Sorry, it's hot. Alright, so I got my panel sewn in, my zipper's all sewn in. The next thing you're going to do is grab your other panel, put it right side to right side. And then around 3 sides, we're going to clip it, and then we'll sew around those 3 sides. I'm going to go ahead and leave the bottom open so I can show you guys how I turn it inside out. Alright, so we've got our back and our bottom, then we've got our zipper pocket. Next thing we're going to do is put right sides to right sides. Did I not put a center mark here? See? We're going to put a center mark there. And then we're going to put it right sides to right side. And then clip all the way around. Alright, so we've got our outside and our inside. Make sure that your zipper is open. We're going to turn this right side out. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in so that my zipper, when I lift the flap up, and I'm looking into my purse, I want the zipper to be on the back of the purse. So that's the first thing that I see. So this side needs to face the flap. When you go in and you put it all together, the zipper needs to be facing the flap. Trust me, it'll be in the right spot. Then you're just going to clip around. We'll sew around 1/4 inch at the top. We'll add our D-ring in a little bit. Don't freak out unless you have decided to do the D-ring the regular way. Go ahead and make sure that you stick that in there on the sides of your bags. Go ahead and do it now so that you don't forget. Because I have closed up a bag and then forgot that I put the D-ring in. Oh, that's so annoying. When you get it all top stitched and you're just like, what did I forget? Oh, yeah, that's kind of important. So if you haven't already, go ahead and get your D-rings and stick them on each side. I am going to wait on mine so I can put them on using a rivet. So now I'm just going to go to the sewing machine 1/4 inch, sew all the way around this, and then we're going to turn it inside out through our zipper pocket, and then top stitch, and then we'll close the bag up. We're all sewed up. We're going to pull our lining out. Then we're going to take all of this and cram it through our zipper. We can do it, just take your time doing this because you don't want to, like, I don't know, you don't want to have any issues. So just take time, get that bottom smushed nice and flat so you can put it through here. Excuse me while I struggle with this for a minute. Alright guys, what did you think? I hope you guys like this bag. It was a very super easy, simple bag. We were trying to go more domestic friendly with this one just so that a lot of you guys don't have industrials like mine, and I know that, and I try, it's just habit to want to like sew over everything that I can because I know my sewing machine can handle it. But in making patterns for you guys, I've been trying really hard to keep domestic machines in mind. So hopefully your domestic will work with this. Let me know in the comment section down below if you order it and you sew it up with your domestic. Let me know if it works and what kind of domestic that you have so that we can make sure that everybody knows, because they ask all the time. And I'm like, I have no clue because I don't sew on my domestic anymore. So just let us know in the comment section down below what you got. If I decide to do the written directions, I will link them in the description down below. If I don't, you're stuck with the video. It's a really simple bag. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Life has been super busy, and it's hard to keep up with all of the written directions for all of the bags. If you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up, or if you want to subscribe so you don't miss any of our other new videos coming out. Next year is going to be super interesting. We've got half of the year already planned and ready to go, and I can't wait for you guys to see all of the stuff that's coming out. So make sure that you subscribe. If you have any questions or comments about the bag, leave them in the comment section down below, or you can always go to K&A Custom Fabrics and you can ask on there. We have a lot of our testers have been making our bags, and if you have any questions, say it's during the day and it's the middle of the day and I'm too busy to answer your question, go to K&A's on Facebook and they will answer you there. All of our testers are ready and willing to help you. Thanks for joining us again on Faith Works Designs. Bye guys.